Hi all, I'm finally able to do a review of the Galaxy Book 12. New 12-inch tablet PC from Samsung, with a name I find particularly appropriate, if you consider it really resembles a small A4 format book when closed. And I also got a new cheap microphone from Amazon, so the sound should be a little less crappy than usual. After the previous good or less good experiences with the Surface Book, new Surface Pro and the old Cintiq 27 Touch, I finally arrived to a computer I hope, frankly, I can keep for a long time. Quality is good, probably not at Surface level. It's a good looking device, light enough to be kept in one hand without problems, even with a cover. Cover that, surprisingly, I find it much better than I would have thought. It's much more comfortable than what appears. 3 positions. Honestly, I never use the first one, since I need to have my eyes at screen level. The other 2 are more useful. There's also a 4th recliner position, ideal for drawing, which is my preferred one. And this for the cover. By the way, I also find the cover to be fairly comfortable for typing, even when you consider using it on the laps or in bed. Displays a 12-inch AMOLED with a resolution of 2160 by 4040 pixels, which is slightly less than a Surface Pro, but being AMOLED, it gains better contrast, more vivid colors and a wider level of top RGB color gamut. Here the tablet portion, very lightweight and easy to handle. This is the grid blowing out the air, volume rocker, on and off button, pogo pin for the cover, 2 USB-C ports, which I don't like much, but they're the future, so better learn to deal with them. Headphone jack and here the microSD bay. One interesting thing is the device automatically enters the tablet mode when you fold the keyboard underneath, disabling all the keys, and that's good. What else? This is the famous S Pen. EMR from Wacom with 4096 levels of pressure. Even if in all honesty, after 1 or 2000 levels I hardly notice any difference. This button by default invokes the air command. Now it's deactivated, and let me see if I can reactivate it since it's currently disabled. As I said, this is the air command, which is an application that has a series of features similar to Windows Ink environment from Windows 10. Let me get it back on disabled, because it's more useful as a right mouse button, which is something that requires a little luck to work, and I'm going to explain how to have it later. More in depth about the pens. This is the S Pen that comes inside the box, with a rounded rectangle shape, not very big, just enough to make it comfortable to use. The tip should be 0.7 millimeters, very small and very good for drawing. Okay, see, much smaller than what we used to use from Wacom or Microsoft. This instead is the Staedtler Norris Digital. As you can see, it doesn't have buttons on the barrel. Nonetheless, I'm finding it the best drawing experience I had on any digital device yet, be it a drawing tablet or a tablet PC. I'll explain later how you can make an effective use of it even without the right click button on the barrel. Getting back to the standard pen, I find it quite comfortable. Sadly, I handle any pen in a different way than the rest of the world, which makes me end up unwillingly pushing the button far too often. I should keep it reversed to make it to use it without problems. Inside the box, aside the pen, you'll find, you see, this thing, which is the extractor for the nibs. Plus there are 3 black replacement nibs and 2 grey hardened nibs. Personally, I prefer the black ones, because the grey tends to glide too much on glass for my taste. Others, frankly, may find the grey preferable. And again, on the right clicking and how to activate it. First, let's see, okay, you have to go to the book settings app and select do nothing for the pen button. See, this pressure sensitivity bar is an option that's initially not available and on the book settings app, and comes with an update. It came for me after a week, more or less. I'd say it's fundamental to be able to work comfortably. It allows to change sensitivity between 9 levels. Honestly, I prefer the first because I find it works better with the Staedtler Norris. Back to right click. Other than disabling the button here, you will also need to install a small utility named Radial Menu, which I'd advise to install anyway for its many features. Okay. In this small software, between other things, there's a function that will allow you to remap the button of the pen to the right click, which is something that I find almost indispensable on a PC. Regarding Radial Menu and its settings, I usually keep the up bar hidden, so it leaves me with more space to work. Under settings, there's a label named remapping. Just change the third button into right mouse and you'll be fine. One thing useful under settings is to make sure enabling Radial Menu to launch a startup, so you don't have to bother launching it yourself every time you turn on the computer. Now let's get a bit into Clip Studio to test the pen performance. Let's zoom at 100%. Okay. Oh well, maybe a little more, it's better. Okay, so this should be fine. Let's take a simple brush. This is the quality, the brush stroke quality, from extremely light to extremely heavy. Let's use another brush that uses pressure to change the size. And see, it's fine. Anyway, in Clip Studio it works well. You better download the WinTab drivers from Microsoft Surface Pro 4, because I noticed, don't know if it will show on the video. Okay, I noticed. Let's just change another brush. Yeah, I did notice. Hope it's visible. I noticed with Windows Ink it tends to do some brush strokes that aren't really perfect. You know, let's see, change it from WinTab, no, from Windows Ink to WinTab. With WinTab the strokes appear smoother, and it's something that happened with the Cintiq 27 too. It seems like Clip Studio doesn't like much the Windows Ink drivers. So you better go with the Surface Pro 4 WinTab drivers, even if it's for another machine. Sadly, I currently don't have Photoshop to show. The trial I installed has already expired, and still I can just describe what I found using it. For both pens, the pressure sensitivity works better in Clip Studio. I tried Photoshop CC 2017 or 18, I don't remember really. Last version available anyway. By the way, it's been some time since the last I used it. It was a bit hard for it to use the lighter pressure levels, even setting sensitivity to 1. It is usable, but I would advise to use alongside Photoshop Lazy Nezumi. Let's open it. Okay. Why doesn't move? Ah, yeah. Okay. Lazy Nezumi. You can set up the pressure curve from inside of it. You can see on the graph the lower part of the curve changes, so it's more usable. And you can also make it so it reaches maximum pressure with less force. Why Lazy Nezumi? Well, in Clip Studio you can modify the pressure curve at pleasure inside the software. Photoshop, I think it will never have such a feature, even if it's probably the only painting software that doesn't have an essential feature like that. So using Photoshop with Lazy Nezumi, which should almost use no CPU for this task, you'll be able to have a result that basically the same as Clip Studio when it comes to stroke control. Back on the Stedner Norris. Usually in Windows you can activate the right click just with a long press, so this way you can do anything inside the operating system. Sadly, in Clip Studio, and I talk about it because it's the software I use. And let's say I was saying in Clip Studio, right click with long press doesn't work inside the interface. So I had to come up with another way to use it with this pen and make it usable for work. In this case I used an app called Touch Me Gesture Studio, and I recommend it to everyone independently of the pen because it allows some pretty cool features. For instance, I set these gestures to change brightness, or I can change volume with a 4-finger swipe left and right. Now let's put it to volume to a normal level. I was saying I did set up this simple gesture, one finger down, tap with another, and I can right click wherever I want. It's quite easy, and the interface is large enough to be quite precise and fast. Getting back to the functions indispensable to work comfortably. Okay, let's see. Let me do some brush strokes. Okay, changing zoom. The eyedropper. Usually in Clip Studio it's invoked holding the right click button. In this case, thanks to again to radial menu, I created this not much distracting mini toolbar, which allows two very simple functions. Left button activates the eyedropper. Okay, this simple button allows me to use the eyedropper. Just I will use if I had the button on the pen down and pushing it back, I come back to the pen I was using, and the eraser from using the other button. And same, I can get back to the pencil I was using. This is ideal when I'm working with the machine as a pure tablet. Honestly, when I'm on the desk, I just use the Wacom Express Key remote. A button for the eraser and another for the right click. Now it doesn't work because it's not attached to the PC. Some more talking about the pen performance in general. Some fast touching. Let's zoom a bit more. Okay. It's great for fast etching and allows very smooth curves with great control. This is it's my fault. Oh, let's slow diagonal lines, basically no jittering. Pressure is working as smooth as ever. So you see. The most fascinating thing is precision. Let me zoom the camera far more and see how accurate is the nib. Since it's so tiny, it almost has the same accuracy as drawing on paper. changing brush to a grainier pencil. I like it more. It gives a more natural feeling of it. I'm standing at the distance from the skin, so I'm less precise than usual. Anyway, it allows a fairly tiny detail working. It's a pleasure to draw with it. It's even better than what I had with on the old Cintiq Companion or on the iPad Pro with the pencil. Currently, it's probably the best pen experience I had in any device. Another topic I wanted to briefly talk before the conclusions are the accessories. Some useful, other essentials, like the already mentioned Express Key remote from Wacom, which allows something like 18 programmable buttons, and it makes life a lot easier when it comes to working keyboardless. More so along with other commands I have directly on the screen you may have seen. Another that's definitely essential, let's see if I'm able to show it. This is this one. This other is a doll. It's a USB dock which has connected the Express Key remote receiver. This cable goes to the tablet, if I'm not wrong, and then we have an HDMI cable and another USB cable that goes to this white monitor. Be it a good quality or a cheap one, considering there's only 2 USB ports and one is used to charge, you better get one with as many ports as you can get. In my case, there's a second old USB hub connected to the new one that allows me to connect the other monitors and other things in case I need it. Another gadget I find very useful, especially if you're someone like me that brings the PC everywhere with him. It's this sleeve from Inatech. Whose particular feature is that it's double up as a stand. You can easily and firmly lay down the tablet on it in 2 different positions, and frankly I prefer them more reclined. It's firm, you can see. It also allows you to work with the tablet in portrait. It's ideal for this kind of way of working. Also, a micro SD is useful. Sadly you can't see it because it's inside this drawer. By the way, this is one of the very few things I don't like about this PC. The bay is like a SIM holder and you need a pin-like extractor to open it. Above all, I was forgetting the king of all accessories. What makes this device stand above the competitors? Okay, let me get it. More so if you use it out of home. Being the king, I probably exaggerated a bit. It's a power bank This allows working a massive number of hours more. Let me attach it to the USB-C. In particular, this is an Anker power bank with 26,800 milliampere per hour that allows around 2.5 full charges. Considering the Galaxy Book charge will give roughly 4 or 5 hours of drawing, you can easily go through a very intense full day of work at your preferred bar without worrying to look for a power outlet. In conclusion, good build quality, solid, well made. It's a joy to flip in the hands and take around with you. Okay, it comes with a pen holder that sadly can only be attached on the left. Performance wise, it's a Core i5, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes for the SSD. It is quite good, allowing to work without much hassle. Probably the corresponding Surface Pro is a bit more powerful, but frankly, when we consider the price and the quality, the bar leans definitely in favor of the Galaxy Book. In Italy, the official price is 1,500 euros. But usually on Amazon you can find it for 200-300 less, or even less if you're lucky. Honestly, for this price there's literally nothing that can compare. More so considering inside the box you get a computer with a great display, a great pen, and the cover with keyboard that's honest and does its job, both as keyboard and the stand. When it comes to temperatures, it tends to get a tad warmer than the Surface Pro, in line with this kind of devices. It never gets too hot, at least when drawing. Rendering a video will be another case. Anyway, it never gets to the point of being uncomfortable, also considering the heat tends to be restricted in the upper part of the screen and then gravitates around the central part while drawing. While someone has come to disturb. Hi Ellie. Is the fun perceivable while working? Yes, it is. Mostly if you're in a completely silent room like I am right now. In normal conditions, though, you may need to place your head near the exhaust to hear it. Let's do a test. Don't know if you hear anything. And that's it. In the near future, real life allowing, I'll try to make a video to show in depth what's the ideal workflow when using this machine as a pure tablet. And this is all for now. Hope this review has been useful for someone, and see you next time. Bye.